Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth with Eden and Kim, shifting you into higher consciousness, the show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, special interviews with inspiring guests, intuitive readings, channeled messages from beyond, including celebrities, hot topics to expand your awareness, and time for questions from the audience. Tune in for unprecedented truth, authenticity, on-purpose discussions, and magical moments.
What do we have in store for this year?
Good question.
I was thinking the same thing.
There we go. That's why we work good together.
The podcast in 2019 really climbed fast, and we have a lot of audiences from all over the world and feedback, and it's just been getting great responses. And then we aligned with Imperfectly Perfect campaign, so it became even deeper for helping people through different things and healing and raising consciousness. So I think a lot more of that, but in an even deeper way with even more big names that get global attention to help make a bigger
difference. Yeah. So we have a lot of people who are on board now with the campaign, along with our podcast, who share the same agenda or mission, and we're all kind of teaming up, and we'll have them on, and we're just going to continue to do what we have been doing to help people put our 2 cents in, if people will listen.
Right.
Yeah, and we have a project, and it's something in the works.
They've heard of our stuff with Prince, so just stay tuned.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff related to Prince coming in 2020.
Right.
Yeah. But in the past episode, if you go back,
He's like, whoa, what happened? Well, first of all, it happens so often, so it's normal to you. Just it goes in one ear and out the other. But this time you were involved. So it was the other day when the first thing that happened was he was just sitting in the living room and he heard a weird noise outside. So he went outside and he saw it was a hummingbird making noises. I don't know about you, but have you heard a hummingbird talking or
just
chirping?
Like a buzz. Yeah.
Yeah, we've never heard that before. So that
Up and your dad says, you're going to be a man when you grow up, and I think that there's this misperception that if you ask for help, you're showing that you're weak. And that's kind of a thing that you grow up with, thinking, well, you never want to look weak. You always want to look like you have it. And so the problem with that is that you build a facade. Instead of asking for help and trying to really address some either underlying or maybe overt problems that you're having, you just mask them, you go about your way, you smile. But unfortunately, it comes up somewhere later, and usually not in a good way.
Right.
And so I think that's the biggest thing, is that you don't want to be perceived as having problems or being weak. You want to be perceived of having it all together. And what I've learned is most people don't.
Right.
In fact, probably all don't. And we all struggle with things, and we all could use a helping hand. So it's I think it's really good that you're having this kind of place that guys can hear. Look, it's okay to ask for help.
Right.
And in fact, you should. And if you don't, it's not because you don't need to, it's because you're just not doing it. And you're going to get into some trouble. You're going to slip. So.
The egos, I'll drive forever before I will ask for directions. Just as simple as that.
Right.
Why don't I just pull into a gas station and ask somebody for directions? I have no matter, even if it's GPS. Trying to find this building sometimes is difficult. But I just think we just need to drop the ego. Unfortunately, Eden tells me that all the time. Just drop the ego, and it's true, And the funny thing is at work, I don't have ego at work. At work, I'm just literally like, I will, because I think it's probably more, for me, it's more of a teaching thing for people to show them that it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to ask for help, because I want people to come when they need help. They need to come, because otherwise it's just like not asking for directions. You're just going to get yourself lost.
I think one of the things for you is you grew up
Such a huge thing.
Right.
Yeah. And, that kind of goes with what we were saying about why can't I meet somebody? I think sometimes also, if you're trying to force it, it doesn't work. And then you're probably not being yourself anyways. So, kind of just work on yourself, and I think it's going to happen.
Allow it to happen naturally.
Yeah, because then, you're not trying to push something. you know,
Right.
trying to, the circle and the square peg type of thing, so.
Well, and I see, working with clients, I see that sometimes women will want it so bad that they'll say, okay, I found the guy on my list, but now I have to morph into these things that
And
he
settle.
expects.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or morph, like maybe they think they have to be higher or
Oh.
different and put on this like facade,
Uh-huh.
and then they start feeling like not themselves anymore, and they feel bitter because they're not being them. It becomes a big mess
Yeah.
instead of just being, like you said, Eric, imperfectly perfect. Because you know what? Then if they don't like it, you're not meant to be with them anymore.
Yep,
You know?
definitely.
Yeah, and I have one more thing to say about that. Also, when people are, I don't wanna call it desperate, but very much needy, I guess, and they feel like if I don't have a man, then I'm not whole.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not where you find your wholeness. So it is about, like what Edwin said, to go within
Work on yourself.
and work on yourself. And all that love that you wish you would have from someone outside of yourself, you can obtain from the inside.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just about doing that work, self-love,
Mm-hmm.
very, very important, and then you will attract the right person.
Right. But it is true to go out. Like I know that a lot of women, especially women that I know that are past 40, they start to feel kind of down or weird to go out to a place. And so a lot of times it is pushing themselves like, okay, I'm gonna walk down the street and go to this hotel lounge and just like have one drink and just sit here, even if I have to read. And sometimes that will have someone meet you, you know what I mean? Like just something, to do something. But like a lot of times, like Eric said, they'll just stay home and watch TV, and then it never ends up, they just stay alone.
They're in the comfort zone, so
Yeah.
this is asking them to go outside that comfort
Right.
zone and take a risk, take a leap.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I had a client, and she was younger. I think she was in her 30s, but she had been single for so long. She kind of got in this habit of being single, and so I assigned her. She was just so uncomfortable talking to people, and so I gave her a challenge where she just had to go to a bar or a hotel lounge, and I said, just talk to 5 guys. It doesn't mean if they're cute, anything.
I'm more in tune, so like the intuition is growing. So it's not even a process that I'm trying to do. It's almost an ancillary, it's ancillary to trying to kind of just make sense of my life.
So it's like you're quieting your mind.
I think so.
He's been even
Yeah.
hearing his dad speak to him.
Yeah. And
So-
and we have like these conversations, and it's nothing like all that profound. It's just more like, yeah, and then like sometimes I'll just say, ended up going, yeah, now you're just showing off.
They have a conversation.
Right.
Well, that's
So
like
so
a visit.
yeah, it really is.
See, his
Whereas
ability-
Really just being real. So the other day, I was actually at work, and I just had this really odd feeling of just like happiness, and I don't mean like I'm just like the happiest person in the world. I mean like my body was feeling happy, and I was just going around to my employees, and I was like, is something weird, because I'm just really happy, and I don't go around telling people I'm a happy person, and it was very hard for me to explain to people.
Just like in a moment where everything's okay.
It was just like, I was just like, and I don't know, it had to be, but it was all day long. Like everything for me then that day was like, and it's not like anything crazy happened. It's just like something came over me, and I was just happy.
Euphoria.
And it wasn't, I couldn't even explain it.
And it'd be
That's
cool
what
to
that is.
have that more and more and more. I think it's like we get previews of that so that we believe we can have that more and more and more
Right,
often.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's called euphoria, and it's something that is.
For more information on Eden, go to edensustin.com. For more information on Kim, go to kimlifecoach.com. Make sure to follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Talk Purpose and Truth Podcast. If you loved this episode, you'll love every episode. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thank you for listening.